Look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary. Then ask yourself alone one question. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use to you. Carlos Castañeda. That is one of my favorite sayings. And the path that I've really had to observe over these last few months has taken a lot of consideration. The last time that I came to you guys and I was talking to you guys, it was in the middle of November. And I had gone over what had happened with me in October for my October wrap-up. I had also shared with you that on November 5th, I fell down and I hurt my knee, and that I was hoping to be walking around and everything very soon. Well, that didn't really pan out as nicely as I wanted. I think I did share with you My Friend Fire by Mari in the Sky. I think I was able to get that video out to you guys as well. But since then, I've just kind of quietly stepped away to do other things that needed to be done. So I'm here today to share with you some of what's been going on within my journal, some of the decks that I've been working with, and what has been going on, what has kept me away all this time. So let's go ahead and start looking at my journal for November. So November came in, and I'm always excited for November because there is Dia de los Muertos, and that's a very special holiday for me. It's always something to be celebrated. So instead of going month by month and sharing all the decks with you, I'm just going to share the decks that I used the most from November through March. And along the way of sharing the journals, I'm just going to share with you what's been happening. So the decks for November were Be With Your Body, Dia de los Muertos Oracle, Ofrenda Oracle, Rhythm and Soul Tarot, Urban Crow, Southern Gothic, The Gentle Tarot, and My Friend Fire. My Friend Fire, I don't have the complete deck yet. We're all anxiously awaiting that. This is from Muddy in the Sky. This is just my prototype that she sent to me. We also have Future Ancestors and Pocket Full of Vines, and Magical Creatures Tarot, When Olga Speaks, and Circle of Doors, Remembering the Sweet Fool, and A Wee Star in the Forest of Precious Twigs, along with the Botanic Oracle, the Penumbra Tarot, Phases in Forest, and Northern Animal Tarot, as well as Tarot of the Drowning World with the Abaton Keys. So I'm just going to go through here, and you'll see within my journals some of the things that I was using. And during this time, I was still deep into my shadow school, 90 days of shadow work, through the yoga platform that I'm involved with. And the last story that I was able to share with my classes was that of La Loba, which is in Women Who Run with Wolves. And that story, it's such a deep story for me. And I think I shared this with you guys. It's such a deep story for me. And I would really love to come here and just read the story to you guys so that you can dive in a little bit deeper. But the essence of that story is recapturing all the parts that you've kind of left behind, and singing to those parts of yourselves to reconnect with the things that you've left behind. And this video is really about the things that were left behind and how we as a family here are reconnecting with a lot of those things. So one of the things that I was able to take part in is the death meditation, which was phenomenal, and that was through my yoga platform. And I love this saying by Gerard Way. It is, life is but a dream, but for the dead. I love that. Love that. And then I got into death rituals and the thinning veil. And, each day, Dia de los Muertos has something specific over. And this again was singing over the bones. And I just thought it was so appropriate during that time to be doing this. This is the day that I fell, November the 5th. 19th anniversary. Oh boy, what a day. That was also voting day, our anniversary, and the day that I fell. And when I came to you guys the last few videos in November, I really didn't understand the complexity of my fall, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't understand how long it would take, and even though the ER told me, and even though, you know, I may have had a couple of doctor visits in between, it wasn't until I saw the orthopedic surgeon that I really understood how complex this fall was. And you know, it's been a journey for me to learn how to be, oops, wrong deck, oh my goodness, how to be patient with myself and how to just kind of reach back a little bit further within my practice and get back to the essence of my practice. And I think I had been kind of hinting at that, kind of talking about that. This is the Magical Creatures Tarot. I love this. This is the same creator as the Northern Animal Tarot. I really love this deck. I love their little features, and I didn't really have like a fairy tale deck, so this was a blessing for me to get this deck when I did. Look at that death card, so good. And really, it has been almost like this huge transformation for us. My fall was a huge, it still is, it's really big. I'm still trying to get better. My knee is getting better. I'm still not teaching. So the death card really means a lot to me right now, and that idea of death and grieving and understanding that this is a transformation. But you know what? It's been really hard for me to drive that message in for myself, because I kept thinking to myself, I'm not going to worry about what they're telling me. I'm going to worry about just focusing on healing but my body is only able to do so much. You know, my mind wants me to do other things. My body is only capable of so much. And so although I think I'm doing better than other people in my same position, I think the overall healing has been extremely slow. And I have felt somewhat like stuck in this place. I really have, looking at some of these cards and going through this conversation with you. But Magical Creatures Tarot has been really, really cool for me to work with during this time, during these past few months. I'm really enjoying this deck. Let's see here. Gentle Tarot. Now, within these past few months, guys, there is nothing that has been there for me like the Gentle Tarot. I always say that the Gentle Tarot is my absolute favorite deck. If you want to follow along with Muddy at Muddy in the Sky on Instagram, I know that's not her favorite place to be, but she is also just so compassionate, so kind, so beautiful. And this deck is supportive when you are full of joy, when you are full of sorrow, when you are full of fear, when you are full of grief, when you are joyful, like everything. It hits every single mark for me. I just absolutely adore this deck. I still just absolutely adore this deck. And also, again, this is my little prototype of the deck that is in the works, my friend Fire. Again, this has just been something that I've just been able to go through. Even though it's not a full deck, I'm still using it. Like that saying, are you playing with a full deck? No, I haven't been playing with a full deck, but it's okay. You know, I have little tools to help me get through it. I haven't been as active with my little tools because, again, I had to step back. I had to reconnect. So, and as we're going through this, I'm going to be sharing that with you. This is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot, along with the Botanic, the Gothic Botanic, or oh my goodness, I can't even remember the name of it right now. But anyhow, I really love that combination. Again, back to Gentle Tarot, Rhythm and Soul again. And then Pocket Full of Vines. That is a phenomenal deck. I really love this deck, along with Future Ancestors. We're getting into the middle of November, and again here with magical creatures. And come the middle of November, and we lost my mother-in-law. So she had been suffering from dementia for a while, and we lost her. And so around this time, you know, I really had to kind of dig in deep as well. And this idea of singing over the bones and transitioning and grief from loss, you know, in many ways. And trying to be there for my husband, you know, mostly, you know, trying to help him and guide him, and yet doing what I can from the distance that we were at. We're 6 hours away from my mother-in-law at the time, and also trying to be connected to my practice. And it was becoming very challenging because, remember, during this time I couldn't even walk, and we were getting close to Thanksgiving. I couldn't make it down the stairs. To get down the stairs, I had to get down on my butt and push myself down one step at a time with my leg extended, with my left leg extended. And to get back up, it was pushing myself backwards up the stairs one step at a time. So my goal at this time, so I kind of set little mini goals for myself, and my goal at this time was just to be able to be downstairs for our thankful dinner in November. And I was able to make it down there. Once I was down there, I was down there for the day, and I didn't, you know, I couldn't go back up until it was time for bed. Then after that, it became, because we lost my mother-in-law and just trying to work with all of that. This is a penumbra tarot. Then after that, the goal became to be able to be well enough to, not well enough, but to be in a position where I could attend the services for my mother-in-law. And by attending the services, meaning on crutches, but there. And so I was able to do it. I had to take little breaks here and there. And, you know, there's certain things that I couldn't participate in during that time, but it was fine. I was there and I was able to pay my respects. So there was a lot of meditation going on at this time, and my yoga was more like sitting and just doing what I could in a seated position, or standing and leaning against something. It has really taken a turn. And again, I was not teaching at all during this time. So this is still into November, and there's just been so much going on, seriously. And again, focused on chair yoga and emotional pain within the body. This was a little bit of a stretch to even do simple moves where I was extending my legs, but, you know, still hopeful and still trying to get back to some of my teaching positions, but it did not happen. It did not happen. So, again, the grieving process of not being around the community that I had built, and the people that I really had built a relationship with. It was really, really difficult. So this is when we came to be with our family here in San Diego. And I'm saying here in San Diego now because this is a real big turning point. In December, we came to attend to my mother-in-law's services. So here we are in December. Gentle Tarot, Jade Oracle, Tarot by Caro, Dirt Gems, Super Lenaris, Oak, Ash, and Thorn, and Be With Your Body Tarot. Those are the decks that I worked with the entire month of December because there wasn't a whole lot going on in December. I was still trying to work through the shadow school and trying to stay dedicated to that. And that was really good to have that focus during that time. And again, I included this wonderful quote from Carlos Castañeda. So again, asking yourself, does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. So these are constant reminders, right? That your path needs to mean something. And if it doesn't mean something, if you're feeling you need a change and then things happen, you need to be paying attention. You need to be present and take the cues that life is giving you. So when we attended my mother-in-law's, and again, so much going on throughout this time, throughout the shadow school and what was going on in our personal life and everything, it was just, there's no coincidence. I always say that. You know, when we came here, we didn't know, my husband and I didn't know, but our family here had a plan for us. And with my mother-in-law being gone, they approached us and asked if we could come back or if we would consider coming back to California and living in the home that my mother-in-law was in. And so we did. We talked to our daughter and she agreed to go ahead and make the change because she's in high school. So that's a big, big change for a high schooler. But she agreed to do it. She was so strong and so willing. And she wanted to be around family. So we went ahead and decided, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Our target date at that point was late February to make the move over here. And so that was our plan. So we started, after the services, we went back home to Arizona and began to really look around at what we were going to bring with us and what was going to be let go. Trying to think of purging and coming into the end of the year and thinking about that, like, okay, what is it that I need to let go of? What is the weight that I've been holding on to? So I let go of furniture that I have had for years, and that was difficult, but I had been wanting to change things for quite some time. I'm still not teaching during this time. In mid-December, coming into late December, my other daughter came home from college. We talked about everything with her. She came and saw the house, and everybody was on board. So we started purging and making sure that we weren't taking more than we needed and more than we wanted. And it has been so much of a change, this whole grieving process, grieving in more ways than one. So even though we were on board to walk away from where we were living to come over here to be around family, because that was another thing that was so apparent to us, is that when we were in Arizona and I had hurt myself, I fell and I hurt myself and I couldn't function anymore. It was just my husband and I. That's all that was available. We didn't have anybody else to turn to. So being without family was so eye-opening at that time, and the ability to come over here and to be supported by family and to also support our family as well. It just made all sense in the world, especially after losing our mother-in-law, my mother-in-law and their mom. So again, reasons to intentionally clear your clutter, purge and declutter. This was my goal, is to purge and declutter. So I began in the kitchen and started really purging things. I kind of went up to my decks and I purged some of my decks. I got rid of some of those. And just started going, and I figured I have plenty of times. I remember looking at the calendar and writing down I have 67 days, and kept working through things. Both of my daughters were home on vacation for winter break, and I kind of started playing around with the floor plan and what I wanted to do with the house, because the house was in deep need of some love and some attention. There was construction that needed to happen within the house to make it work for us as well. So there was a lot of things that needed to happen within the early part of December into the late part of February. And so I started planning. I really started kind of pouring my heart into what I wanted this place to feel like, what I wanted it to be like. And just kind of creating little boards and inspiration pages here. So even as I look back on this now, it's not exactly what it turned out to be, but there's a lot of these ideas that I did pour into this little house that we're calling home now. But it did take a lot, it did take a lot of work. So this is my little inspiration area within that book here. And then now I'm going to share with you my journal from January to now. And one thing you're going to notice is that I really have not journaled all that much. So I went ahead and included the card of the year, which is the Hermit, and boy, have I been feeling that, because I really have gone into a sense of isolation, and a sense of not isolation from family, but just isolation within myself, within my practice, and trying to really connect to what it is that made me who I am originally. Like leaving the title of yoga teacher away from it, leaving like the curandera, leaving the limpias, and all, just leaving all of that and focusing on what got me to that space. What was my calling? And I think sometimes along the line, we have a tendency of forgetting who we are and how we got there. And this was a time to kind of awaken that part of me. And when I say that I was grieving and that I felt that transformation, that death of a certain thing, it was beyond the physical loss of my husband's mom. It was so many things that we had built up within those past 7 years in Arizona. The community, the people, the streets, the stores, everything that I knew. I have never lived in San Diego, and this is where we moved to, is San Diego. But it is different, definitely very different than where we were living. So it's more of an urban feel where we're at, but I am seriously a mile away from the bay, and I can go and watch the sunset every single night if I want to. I could just drive over there, and I would drive because, you know, my knee is a mess, but I'm getting out more and more. But you're gonna notice that everything has shrank, because I really haven't been using tarot to the extent that I was. I'm not planning my yoga classes anymore because I'm not teaching yoga. However, that will be changing soon. But the decks that I used here are Magical Nature Tarot, Poesis, Gentle Tarot, and Remembering the Sweet Fool. So earlier I kind of brought this out on mistake, Magical Nature Tarot. This thing is just beautiful. And I really love this because I believe that she did take like seawater to use this to put on some of these and to create some of the dyes and stuff like that. So I just felt like it was so appropriate. So when when January started, this deck is beautiful. But when January started, you know, the theme and the focus were to be designing our new home and to purge and declutter our current home. So I started in the kitchen, and as I was saying earlier, I started purging, getting rid of things that I didn't need, and then packing at the same time. And I figured, oh, I've got like 1 week in this room, and this room, and this room, and vice versa. And it's going to be such an easy move. Again, more surprises that I just wasn't aware that were going to happen. So at the beginning of January, my youngest daughter went back to school after Christmas break. And then my oldest daughter went back to DC to go back to college. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start looking at her future school. I'm going to get a hold of them, figure out what's going to be necessary to make it as smooth of a transition as possible. And see, look right here. She looked at her old life one last time, inhaled deeply, and whispered to herself, "It is time. I'm ready for my new story to begin." And that is truly the way that I was looking at things, because I knew that coming over here, she was going to have to start a new life. I was going to have to start a new life. Everything was going to change. I wasn't going to have those connections that I had before, and now with being injured, it was going to be a little bit more difficult for me to get my feet back in the door and figure out what it is that I wanted to do with this channel, with my teaching, and how I was going to go about all of this. Let me tell you, I still don't have it all figured out. You know, there's one thing I know, that if you start planning things too deeply, sometimes life just kind of rattles you and says, don't you know? Life is always going to do what it's going to do. And we just have to be ready to be there for it, to accept it. So come early January, both my girls go back to school. And I decide to call the new school over here in California. Well, turns out that they are starting their semester much later than my high school daughter's school that she was attending. They had already started their new semester. So when I got that news, I thought, oh my goodness, well, if we're going to switch her, she's really going to come in late if we wait until late February. So we've got to make a move now. So at the point that I called them, we had a matter of days for my daughter and I to move over here so that she could start the new semester just 7 days into their new semester. So we had 7 days for my daughter and I to get what we needed and fit it into the back of my car and my husband's car and drive down to San Diego and move into a house that was in deep need of construction and in the middle of construction and all kinds of modifications. This is an older home, so there were a lot of repairs that needed to be done, changes that needed to be made, things that needed to be fixed. And when you walk into a situation like that, you don't even understand the extent of it. On top of it all, my mother-in-law's things were still in the house, so we also had to work with the family and start purging her items as well, because none of my items could come down here or any of the things that we were going to get when we came down here until the house was cleared. So there was a lot going on. There was a house that we lived in that needed to be packed and decluttered and moved 400 miles. And then we had a house here that was under construction that needed painting, that needed a lot of repairs and decluttering and removal of furniture and items and separating things between the family. There was a lot going on, a lot. And some days I just would like, this is too much. I don't know if I can keep doing this. So my daughter and I moved into this house, and we were in one little section of the house because, and it's a small home, but one section of the house because that's all that we could actually access with the construction and everything else going on. So we moved here in mid-January. My husband stayed in Arizona so that he could continue working and packing and just getting ready. So this here in February, this little spot here, it looks a little bit different now, but this little thing here, oh my goodness, this is a little niche within the living room. And I remember when this living room was painted and this niche was painted, I just felt so good to be able to put my things in this spot and to create something in this spot that felt like it belonged to me. Because on top of the grieving and everything else, I have, and I still have this feeling of being ungrounded in this soil and in this area still. I'm still working on this, and I've been able to create this home in everything, the design aspects of it, how I wanted it to be and everything, working within the frame that it has and being respectful to, everything that has existed in this home, and, the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions from the family members, and also being respectful to my mother-in-law. So it has been a balancing act way beyond I had even thought. I knew that there would be that to begin with, and when we were first approached to come in here, I said I have to go to the house and I have to really let the house speak to me. So I walked from room to room and sat and listened. But this putting your house in order is the magic that creates a vibrant and happy life. It really is. For me especially, I can't live in chaos. And right now, even in our bedroom, there's still a lot of boxes in here. And because the house is mostly done, but not all done. So we're still, we're taking a little break now, and I'm gonna have to live with the boxes, some of these boxes for now, because I just don't know where to put them. And it's probably gonna come to a point where I'm gonna decide again, what do I need? What do I not need? If I've been living with these things in boxes since January or February, and we're a few months into it, I'm going to have to decide, do I actually need that? And then take it from there. But trying to find that grounding and creating this feeling of magic and emotion within this house has, it has been difficult. So here we are in March now, guys. So my husband came at the end of February and brought in all of our stuff. And I did feel, I pulled this card from this little prototype from Muddy in the Sky, that the fire is calling. And I do feel that way, that there is something that is deeper that is calling me. And I just need to be prepared to be able to answer it when I am ready. And I can't rush that. And that is difficult for me because, when I want something, I focus all my attention and try to go after that. And, sorry, I have my people here, so I had to close the door. But I have this way of let me meditate on this. I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to bring this in. But you know what? Everything has really turned out kind of the way that I have been manifesting already, because for a while now, even in Arizona, there's mostly new construction there in the area that we were at. And I love older homes. And I kept thinking, if I could just get a hold of a cute little older home, a one-story, that's easy to clean, that's easy to keep up with a yard so that I can go out and garden and just create this little house. Just give me a little fixer-upper. And here we are. Here we are. We got it. We got the little fixer-upper. There's a lot of yard work to be done, front and back. The house, it looks very, very different now. It looks like there's a space to have your thoughts at this point. Before there was a lot of the idea of not being able to let go within this house. And it really did inspire me when I was moving over here, that I had to remember that these things that we have are just things, they're stuff. It's not what's important. It's not what's inside you. So this person is sitting here and just one with the land, and the fire is all around her. It's calling her. It's within her. It is her. What is she creating with that fire? I don't know. It was just really special to me. My mother-in-law had problems letting go of things, and so coming in here to clean, it was a very difficult and hard task for me, because I didn't feel as if I should be doing it because I didn't want to get rid of something that meant something to somebody else. I didn't know the meaning of all of these items, these things. But you know, my husband and I got through it. When we did have the entire family come over and help, which was so very useful. So some of the decks that I brought over during this time were like the Curious Travels Tarot, which I'm still continuing to work with right now. But I wanted things that represented like the landscape and the idea of movement and the idea of accepting the travels and the curiosity and digging in. And this deck is really, really pretty, mass market deck, very easy to obtain. But I have to say, in addition to talking to you about the decks that I have been using, so that was March. Let me keep going here for just a little bit because I don't have that much in here. See, I've been doing a lot of thrifting because I let go of a lot of things, and I was able to find some Le Creuset at a thrift shop. I cannot believe it. I'll share those with you on a different day as well. But just discovering new places, putting my hands in the dirt, just getting out there as much as I can without hurting myself too much. And exterior color choices, inspiration, just, you know, on and on. But let me go ahead and share with you some of the other decks. As I mentioned earlier, the Gentle Tarot and my little prototype of the Fire deck, Magical Creatures. Be with your body. Oh my goodness, guys, this deck has been so vital for me because, yeah, I had to remind myself as well that throughout this time, you know, I'm focused on my knee, like every moment, you know. It's not as bad anymore, but I couldn't even sleep without thinking of my knee because it was in just so much pain and so bad. But now even every morning I get up, I come, you know, I'm putting my legs out of bed and I'm thinking about my knee, like how is it feeling? What is it doing? And, you know, I'm focused on the part of it that's hurt or that's healing. And I had to remind myself at a certain point, like I have to give thanks to my knee because, you know, my knee's been through a lot. I was in a crash when I was 16 years old and I messed it up real bad then. And I just worked through it. I, you know, focused on weight training and I had been able to do so much in my life. So I had to really just stop and give thanks to my knee for everything that it has done for me and everything that I've been able to participate in, snowboarding and Muay Thai kickboxing and, you know, all the yoga and riding my bike 100 miles. And I mean, mountain biking, I've been able to do so much. And I hadn't really given thanks to my knee for being so supportive to me. Again, one of the other decks that I've been using is Tarot Landscapes. And again, because here I am in San Diego, where there is such beautiful landscapes to look around and take part in. Of course, that's not part of them. But this has played a big part for me as well, to get kind of like familiar and let the landscape speak to me. So lately what I've been doing is, you know, I'm pulling cards, but not as frequently as I was, and really kind of letting that energy sit with me for like a week, you know. Coastal Curiosities and Peculiar Pathways Tarot by Lennox Reese. These two have been wonderful. I love the Peculiar Pathways because, yeah, I'm feeling quite peculiar on my new pathways. And then going back to the saying that or the quote that I read to you earlier from Carlos Castaneda, like every time I'm on these pathways and looking at things that need to be done, like, is it meaningful? Does it have heart? If it doesn't, then I'm doing the wrong thing. So things like these decks, and of course, Coastal Curiosities, because I'm right here at the frickin' bay, guys. I mean, seriously, I'm at the beach in minutes, and I'm at the bay, just, it's a mile away. I can be in Coronado, I can be in La Jolla, like beautiful beaches, and I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump. Seriously, guys, it's beautiful, but it does take some getting used to because it's a different environment, and I'm in a different house, and I feel a lot emotionally here from the house, and I'm trying to be respectful to the house of everything that it's feeling and thinking and all of that. So this is another deck that's just been so amazing for me, which is Remembering the Sweet Fool Tarot. I've talked a lot about this deck, and a large part of me coming to what kind of colors I wanted to use in this household came from this deck. This is a huge inspiration for me as far as the color palette and kind of how I wanted it to feel. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever thought about your decks as inspiration for how you would like to design or decorate your home, but this deck definitely, it really did lend its hand within the color palette, and is my inspiration for how I am trying to get this house, oh, I just dropped something, to feel. Okay, this is every little thing you do is Magic Tarot. And again, this is another one of those decks. It is so reasonable on Amazon. Yes, the card stock is a little thicker, and the cards are a little different size than your average tarot size, but I don't care. I really enjoy this deck. I love everything that's going on. I love the busyness, but yet then you have this solid color in the back that kind of just grounds you and focuses your attention on what's going on within the card itself. This deck has really, it's been amazing for me too. And I just think it's such a great deal to top it all off. Going forward, guys, I do plan on continuing with this channel. There's been so much going on, and it's not as if when something breaks, it just breaks and then we replace it or we do what we need to do. No, everything in this household, when it breaks, like, there's a story behind it. So the washer and dryer that were here, like when we got here, I knew that thing was on its way out and just crying for help. So it finally gave out. So we go to order a new washer and dryer. It's a combo unit. We bring it, or we have it delivered, and then they deliver it and they're like, that electrical plug will not work. They haven't used that plug in a long time and it's just not going to work. You're going to have to convert that plug. So then we have to call an electrician. Then they had to come out, fix it, make sure everything was okay. And then the people that were bringing the washer and dryer then had to come back out to make sure that everything was functioning and working. I mean, everything has been like that chain of events where it's not just one simple fix. It has to be like, okay, you go here, then you go there, and you go here, and you go there. So it has been a whirlwind. And I feel like at this point, we're in our first couple of weeks, really, last week and this week, where everything, I'm hoping, knock on wood, that everything that was going to break did break, and that hopefully we're in the clear. That's what I'm hoping for. The weather is extremely cool compared to Arizona. So that's taking my adjustment as well. A welcome change, but I am a little cold and wearing a lot more of my sweatshirts than I ever thought that I would ever wear before, which is a welcome to me because I love sweatshirts. But it has really been a wonderful change to be around family. And to design this house with intention. You know, I don't want things just landing in this house. I don't want them to be here just because we always had them. I want them to feel as if they have a place in this house. And I think before the moves that we made, before they were our furniture, and so I would drag them from place to place to place. But in looking at the way that this house was before, I didn't want to have that same thing. I didn't want to drag things around. So I have really been looking at everything with intention, and that includes my practice. Like, was I doing things just because that's how I had been doing things? I love journaling. I love putting my ideas. I love putting in pictures of places and things that we've experienced and done. And it really has become more of that, and occasional just like thoughts or, you know, things of that nature, because I think I really needed to change. I think I really needed to deepen things. And that has been one of the things that has really stood out for me, is that through this grieving process, through this transformation, that I was being given an opportunity to create something that I wouldn't have done otherwise. I kept wanting a deep, deep, drastic change. And this home, my mother-in-law, my in-laws, they have all given us this opportunity to take advantage of this time to go forward with things differently. I just landed another teaching position, but it's in a different capacity. So now I'm going to be teaching at a senior facility. I would teach at senior facilities, but now I think that's really the direction that I need to go in for now, just to teach. And it's going to be different. It's not going to be a standing flow. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be kind of a combination of Tai Chi with a slow flow, slow yoga flow. So I need to be open to the possibilities. I need to be welcoming to the things that are available and waiting for us. It's a transition, definitely. It's what I had asked for, and so you do have to be careful what you're asking for, because you'll get it. You'll get it. Maybe not in the time period that you necessarily wanted it in, or the way that you saw it unfolding for you, but it is working out. It has been difficult. I'm not going to say that it's been easy. It has been difficult, but it is all worth it. And this is the first time recording in this space that I'm in, so I know that it's going to sound different because the ceilings in this room are really high. So I know that the lighting, everything is going to be different. So just work with me, guys. But I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for asking me if I'm okay. Thank you for being patient. And thank you for being here still. I do plan on continuing, but I think there's going to be some more changes. I think this transformation needs to take place in order for me to grow and continue to refine my life. And if I kept doing it this way that I was doing it, which I knew it had to change, I was feeling it a few months back before I had, like, I would say August, I already knew things had to change a little bit, even within the channel, even with the way that I was teaching, even with the healings that I was offering and everything. I knew there had to be a change. I knew that it was coming. I just didn't understand at what rate and how many things would have to change in order for me to get there. So now I'm asking you guys to come along with me and to watch me once again redefine my life and continue on with me throughout this project. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. From my heart to yours, thank you, and I will see you later.